All right, we were following more breaking news. This is out of Washington, and we just told you about it. The Pentagon announcing it will revisit its investigation into the deadly bombing at Kabul airport during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Think back to 2021. 13 service members, 170 Afghans were killed during what was certainly described as a chaotic withdrawal. The Pentagon's Central Command now ordering interviews of dozens of service members who were at that airport. And you'll remember there was a lot of criticism over how this was executed and how that assault could have been stopped. Let's bring in Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, Senior Fellow, Military Expert on defense priorities. Colonel Davis, thank you so much for your time on this breaking news. First of all, just talk to us about what this means and how common is it for the Pentagon to reopen or at least revisit an investigation that, up until this point appeared to have been closed.
Well, it's very unusual, very rare indeed. And of course, I think the only reason that it's being done now is under a lot of pressure because of some very conflicting recent testimony by some of the surviving Americans that were wounded in that battle that are conflicting significantly with the official investigation that was done at the time. And I think now out of that pressure, now that they're going to reopen the investigation, and it remains to be seen just how this one goes. If it's anything like the first few that have happened, it's not going to change much of result. But I think that's going to the pressure that's being brought to bear here is probably going to need to continue on until we get a little bit more of the truth out.
And how long do you think an investigation of this magnitude, going back, interviewing, soldiers, military members who were there, how long can an investigation take?
Well, it shouldn't take that long because they're not doing a new investigation. They're opening up the existing one. So a great deal of the groundwork's already been done. But there were, I think, over 20 people who were directly involved in this who were never interviewed. And I think that's a big red flag right there as to why you wouldn't have interviewed the people who were on the ground the most and who were the most involved with what happened. Some of the claims is that they're saying, well, they were being, evacuated at the time. And certainly that's fair for the moment. But an investigation didn't last just a couple of weeks. They should have taken the time to go talk to these people. So I think along with everybody else, I'm going to be very interested in seeing what these new witnesses, what they say under oath.
And Colonel, as you said, this is reopening the investigation that happened. So what could potentially come out of this? Are we looking at charges, reprimands, reassignments?
Well, frankly, if they uncover, malfeasance or just a failure at the highest levels, then I think somebody needs to be held accountable. I was personally really kind of disappointed, very disappointed in that you may recall at the same time that we accidentally killed a family of 10, thinking that it was a bomber in the aftermath of this, and it turned out that it wasn't. And the investigation showed some real failures of command and execution, and yet no one was held accountable for 10 people, including children, being killed. And, now that Americans were killed, and if there is any kind of evidence that there was a failure at the command level or a failure at the execution level, somebody has to be held accountable. It can't always be okay that just, well, it was the fog of war. And that's what I'm really looking to see.
And that brings me to my last question, Colonel. Based on everything you've seen, you just mentioned that example there. We know there has been so much criticism. There has been so much pressure. Do you think the deaths of the Afghans and then certainly of those 13 U.S. service members could have been prevented?
I don't think they could have been prevented. I mean, who knows? One of the witnesses claimed he had the bomber in his sights. And of course, we don't know for sure if it was the bomber or not. He believed that it was. So it's certainly possible if he'd been given the order to fire. But, that is a very, very chaotic situation. And I couldn't really put myself in that position. But if a bomber was going to come and detonate a bomb suit and kill people, it's really hard to stop that.
Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis weighing in on this breaking news coming out of Washington. Colonel, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.